Hello everyone. Today we're going to start with the module 1, the lecture 1. Here we are going to start with the introduction to the Hilbert transform and its properties. So actually the module name is the band pass signal to equivalent low pass. So we have trying to send the signal which are making the signal to pass it to the any of the signal to be a low pass signal equivalent to the low pass signal. So in that we are using one of the techniques, that is the Hilbert transform. So somewhat similar to the Fourier transform what you have studied in DSP and also in the S&S in your 4th semester, 5th and 4th semester respectively. So we'll deal with the what do you mean by the Hilbert transform and its properties. At first, what do you mean by this? For the Fourier transform is particularly useful for evaluating the frequency content of an energy signal, or in a limiting sense that of a power signal. So it was like just the Fourier transform usually we design. It was like for the whatever the calculation was in the frequency domain. So as we know, there are two domains there: a time domain analysis and a frequency domain analysis. And we were using this Fourier transform usually to do the frequency content of the any of, for example, here we are considering energy signal or a limiting sense of some of the power signal also in the frequency domain. So just to analyze or to evaluate the frequency content, we used to use the Fourier transform. Here the Fourier transform provides the mathematical basics, like mathematical basis for analyzing and designing frequency selective filters for the suppression of the signal on the basis of their frequency content. For example, when we are using this Fourier transforms, like we have a FFT, DFT, and all this Fourier discrete Fourier transform, fast Fourier transform. All this were like we used to have a one proper mathematical equation, and we used to design those things, and we used to design it for certain frequency. For example, certain frequency selective filters, like what we used to design only. We wanted only signal from this range to this range, n is equals to this value, or k is equal to some values, like that it is. So these are like the frequency selective filter, and we used to select the whatever the band pass path among them, which we used to select those things. And we can use it like a filter also, like we can say I want k is equals to 0 to 3 in one range, and 3 to 4 to 5 in also 4 to 6 in one range, and 7 to 9 in one range. So I can analyze, or I can make a separate of this one, okay, on the basis of the frequency content. So we are doing on the basis of the frequency content. Okay, so another method like of separating like the such signal is based on the phase selectivity. So phase selectivity is all about the concept about the phase shifting, like what we use in the PS case and always to use in the third model. The phase shifting, the phases were to differ in the quadrature phase shifting. They're like we have to have a four components of a curve. So here we also have another kind of analysis that we call as using the separate on the basis of the phase selectivity. So depending on the phase. So what is that we call as the Hilbert transform. What we are, the first priority of this module was to study about the Hilbert transform. So in the preliminary introduction to it, so we can say that Hilbert transform is about the concept of the phase selectivity. And the phase Hilbert transform provides the mathematical basics for analyzing and designing phase selective filters. The physics for analyzing and designing phase selective filters for suppression of the signal. Okay, they're like Hilbert transform provides the mathematical basics for analyzing and designing phase selective filters for suppression of the signals, that we can say. Okay, so now how we can say like the designing the phase, they have to set it to a one bandwidth there. For example, okay, this is the frequency or this is the phase what we are selecting. So that we have to be designed before getting into the Hilbert transform. So that is what the thing. It is also providing the mathematical basics. Okay, we are not telling that for an answer. It's not like a totally a Fourier transform, but here what is the factor is here we are doing the analysis with the help of the mathematical basic, and also we are designing the phase selective filter, not a frequency selector as we did in the Fourier transform. Okay, and usually we call this the Fourier transform are used for the frequency domain analysis. Okay, here as we said, as we discussed that the Fourier transform is usually used for the frequency domain analysis, and Hilbert transform are used for time domain analysis. Then the Hilbert transforms. Okay, so after a brief introduction, we should know what is Hilbert transform. As we discussed that a phase shift of a special interest, in this context is that of a plus or minus 90 degree. As I told earlier, we used to select a one phase that is we call as a plus or minus 90 degree, and which is very commonly used in communication system, which we are using it very commonly used in the communication system. In particular, we can say in particular when the phase angles, the phase angle of all the components. Okay, for example, in particular when the phase angle of all the components for a given signal are shifted by plus or minus 90 degree, the resulting function of the time is known as Hilbert transform of the signal. So what we are using it here, if you give any signal, I will tell change it phase by plus or minus 90 degree. Okay, any component it might be, like it might be any signal which has like plus or minus 90 degree. The resulting function of the time is known as the Hilbert transform. So output what you are getting, it's called as the Hilbert transform of the signal. To emphasize this distinct property of providing a plus or minus 90 phase shift, this Hilbert transform is also called as a quadrature filter. Okay, out of 360 divided by 4, so in order to like that we have 4, we are dividing the phase shift. So we can have a maximum of 0 to 360. We can have n number of phase shift, but we modelize to 0 to 360, 0 to 360 because it's a one circular there. So among them, so if I made it a 40, so it's 90, sorry, divided by 90 into 4 is 360. So this is what we used to have, and this 90 degree phase shift generally we see in the QPSK, where it was a quadrature phase shift keying. Okay, so that's the concept here. The quadrature filter is about that one to move 4, like that we can say. And you can see here, when you give a normal signal and when we make it a 90 degree phase shift as per our Hilbert transform, we get a G cap of t. G cap of t is nothing but the Hilbert transform. We represent the any signal G of t by Hilbert transform. In general, we say G cap of t. And here, Hilbert transform of a signal does not change the domain as compared to the frequency of as compared to the Fourier transform. It doesn't change in the domain. Where Fourier transform changes the signal from time domain to frequency domain. As we need to know, the Fourier transform, what we are doing, we are changing the time domain to frequency domain, where we are using it for manipulation, or we can say it is for easiness to work in the frequency domain. Now consider a Fourier transform of a signal g of t with its Fourier transform denoted by g of f. The Hilbert transform of g of t, which is denoted by g cap of t, is defined by g cap of t is equals to 1 by pi and integrated from minus infinity to plus infinity of g of tau divided by t minus tau into d tau. Here the Hilbert transform is a linear operation. So this is what this equation we call it as the Hilbert transform. Now since this is a linear operation, we can find the inverse of the Hilbert transform also to obtain the original signal g of t. And which is linearly recovered from g cap of t and is defined by g of t is equals to 1 by pi, which are the integrated from minus infinity to plus infinity g cap of tau divided by t minus tau into d tau. Okay, g of t is equals to 1 by pi is equals to integrated from minus infinity to plus infinity of g cap of tau divided by t minus tau into d tau. So we can compare here. This is nothing but the Hilbert transform. And this, when we that is the inverse Hilbert transform we do, we can get back our the signal what we have given there, and we can get it back. So that we can say that Hilbert transform is a linear. So HT and linear inverse HT, that is Hilbert transform and inverse transform. Hilbert, we can get a linear in operation. We can get from Hilbert transform to inverse Hilbert transform, inverse Hilbert transform to the normal Hilbert transform. Now, the function g of t, the function g of t and g cap of t, g of t and g cap of t are Hilbert transform pairs. Okay, we can know. So some set of functions have been given. We'll see how it will be there. So time function and the Hilbert transform we need to see. M of t into cos 2 pi fct, when Hilbert transform it will get m of t into sin 2 pi fct. In Hilbert transform we get a m of t into sin 2 pi fct. When m of t and sin 2 pi fct is Hilbert transform, we get a minus m of t into cos 2 pi fct. Then cos 2 pi fct Hilbert transform, we get a sin 2 pi fct. Sin 2 pi fct, when Hilbert transform, we get a minus cos 2 pi fct. Sin t by t, when Hilbert transform, we get 1 minus cos t by t. A rectangle of t, in Hilbert transform, we get 1 minus 1 by pi ln of t minus 1 by 2 divided by t plus 1 by 2, the whole is modulus. This is nothing but minus 1 by 2 ln the whole modulus of t minus 1 by 2 divided by t plus 1 by 2. Delta of t is nothing but 1 by pi t. Delta of t is nothing but 1 by pi t. 1 by t, 1 by 1 plus t square, in Hilbert transform we get t by 1 plus t square. Then 9. 1 by t, when Hilbert transform we get minus pi delta of t. So these are the ninth function which we'll be using when we are solving the problem. This is the benefits of it. So we can we used to have integration, differentiation. It's like formula, some basics we need to have. So this is the basics if we are using it in a Hilbert transform. So you need to know how it is in the time domain when it is Hilbert transform, how it is going to react, and we need to solve some of the equations there. Okay. Next, how to interpret whether that Hilbert transform is correct or wrong, how it is going to analysis, and also just a small brief introduction about it. If g of t represents a Fourier transformable signal, then the Hilbert transform of the signal g cap of t can be obtained by passing the signal through an LTI system. By passing through an LTI system with impulse response of ht of t. So this is what the impulse response. We are considering that why it is g of t is converted to g cap of t is because of this impulse response of the plus or minus 90 degree phase shift. That what is that we considering it as a impulse response as ht of t. So that is what we can say it in short as the g cap of t, that is equals to g of t converted with the ht of t. In frequency domain, g cap of f is equals to g of f into ht of, where ht of f represents the frequency spectrum of the Hilbert transform. So this is the just the time domain, we are converting it to the frequency domain. The analysis has been changed. Since we know we are not actually converting, just we are using the help of the some of the Fourier transform to the time domain analysis to frequency domain to check whether it is going to is valid or not. Since we know that a Hilbert transform of a signal is obtained when the phase angles of all components of the given signal is shifted by plus or minus 90 degree. Plus or minus 90 degree. Okay. So what if any equations are given, or if any terms, or if any components are given, we have to make them shift by plus or minus 90 degree. So that time we said it is Hilbert transform. Now HT of f is equals to minus j signum of f, minus j signum of f. Okay, so this is we are considering. So just to change the phase here. So how I representing the signum of f is nothing but in the positive frequency component it should be plus 1, in the negative frequency component it should be a minus 1, where signum of f is equals to a1 for f greater than 0, and for 0 for f is equals to 0, and it is minus 1 for f less than 0. So this is what the graph of the signum function. And HHT of f is equals to, in short we can say HHT of f is equals to minus j signum of f. When I take both the consideration, I can represent that as a minus j for f greater than 0, 0 for f is equals to 0, j for f less than 0. Okay, what I made, this I made minus j to multiply with all, minus j into 1 j1 minus j into 0 minus j into minus 1. So what is that? It is going to represent, and we can see the magnitude response of HHT of f. HHT of f is nothing but minus j signum of f is nothing but 1, and it is 1. When I take here, in the previous it was a plus 1 for positive f and negative minus 1 for negative f. When I take a magnitude of those things, it would come 1, because I have taken mod of it. When I take a phase of that, see HT of f is equals to minus j signum of f is given as minus pi by 2, f greater than 0, and for f is equals to 0 it is 0, f pi by 2 for f less than 0. So that is I can represent it here. Okay, for f greater than 0 it is minus pi by 2, and for f less than 0 it is pi by 2. So that when we multiply, it will make me this kind of a component. So here from the above responses for the phase response of a HHT of f, it can be derived that all positive frequency components are shifted by minus 90 degree. That is one. You can see all positive frequency components are shifted by minus 90 degree, and all negative frequency components are shifted by plus 90 degree. And that we can represent like a HHT of t is equals to inverse Fourier transform of HHT of f is equals to 1 by pi t. So it's a inverse of that. And from here we can observe some of the observation note we need to be considered, that is HHT of t can be found out from HHT of f by using derivative property of a Fourier transform. That is, if xt can be the Fourier transform of x of t is represented as x of f, the capital X of f, and derivative function, that is d by dt of xt, the Fourier transform we get j2 pi f x of f, capital X of f it is. And also by using the duality property 1 by pi t, the Fourier transform we get minus j signum of f, and signum of t Fourier transform we get 1 by j pi of capital F. 1 by j pi t, if Fourier transform we get minus j signum of f. So it is like a both the direction. It's a, we can go from this term we can get this, and from this term we can get this one. So it's a the both terms. So we can observe it from this equation that the duality set. Okay. Now what are the application? Why do we require this kind of a Hilbert transform? It is used in the signal sideband modulation. I think this you have studied in your PCS, Principle of Communication System, in that the single sideband modulation. Okay, so it was mainly used for that purpose, and also it is used to represent the band pass signal mathematically. It is usually used to represent the band pass signal mathematically. Okay, so what is that reason we are using the Hilbert transform? We can represent those things mathematically. We usually some of the terminology is too difficult, but when considered for the band pass signal, it can be done mathematically. Now, property of Hilbert transform. Some three properties are there. We need to look into these three properties and and we need to solve that the table and this one, and we need to solve those things. Okay, solve the equation that comes in the problematic part. Now, as we know that Hilbert transform is applicable in time domain, the signal is assumed to be a real valid signal. Some of the properties are as follows. Property 1, a signal g of t and its Hilbert transform g cap of f have the same magnitude spectrum. That is, mod of gf is equals to mod of g cap of f is equal. They both are equal there for all values of f. So what is the proof? Fourier transform of g of t is g cap of t is nothing but g capital G of f. That is equals to minus j sigma of f into g of f that we have derived in the previous the topics there. Okay, now we know that minus j sigma of f, and we take a mod of that is equals to 1, the magnitude response of the Hilbert transform when we are taking the Hilbert. So that time we get it as a 1 for all values of 1. So when I substitute this value here, so that time it will become mod of, so mod of capital G of f, G cap of f is nothing equal to 1 into G of f. So that time mod of capital G of f is equal to G cap of f, that is equal to mod of G of f for all values of f. Hence the property 1 is proved. Now another property, that is a property 2. If G cap of t is the Hilbert transform of G of t, then Hilbert transform of G cap of t is minus G of t. That's the argument what we are going to see. We saw in it in the m of t into sine of kind of, and when we take a minus m of t into sine cos 2 pi f c t, when we take a inverse, we got a minus there. So that is, we are proving it here, how why it is coming. Okay, so when we take a, once we take a g of t to g cap of t, it's okay. When we are taking g cap of t to again reverse back, so why it is coming minus g of t? That's the question will arise, and that is proved here. That is, we can say the argument of a g cap of f is equal to minus argument of g of f. So here is not g cap of g of f, sorry. So what is the proof? To obtain h of t of, that is a Hilbert transform of g of t, it is passed through an LTI system. It is passed through an LTI system with a transfer function equal to minus j sigma of f. Will pass through an LTI system with a transfer function equal to minus j sigma of f. A double h of t, that is a double Hilbert transform, is equivalent to passing g of t through a cascade of two such devices. The overall transfer function of such a cascade is equal to minus j sigma of f the square, that is equals to minus 1 for all values of f. When I take a square of this one, so when it is passed through the 2 times the impulse response, it becomes minus 1 for all values of f. Because when I take here, so that I will be solving it here, you can see now g of t when passed through the 1, h of f is equals to minus j sigma of f, and again when passed to g cap of t is passed again the same, to get back we say another Hilbert transform of this one, again we multiply with the minus j sigma of f, so that we get a minus g of t. H of f into h of f, that is we are going to calculate. So when we are multiplying this h of f into h of f, we should get this term. So now minus j sigma of f into minus j sigma of f, but what is that? When you multiply, we get j square sigma square of f. It is the h dash of f, we said, because h dash of f is nothing but this both multiplied. So now, but sigma square of f is equals to 1. As we know, it is a 1 value. Okay, plus 1 square or minus 1 square, I don't worry, it's a 1. But what is j square? J is square root of minus 1. So when you take a square, it is minus 1. So h dash of f is equals to minus 1 into 1. So what is that? For all values of f it is. Hence Fourier transform of the output is g of f into h dash of f. H dash of f is what? The twice it is mean multiplied h of f is equals to minus g of f. That is minus g of t, we can get minus g of f. That is the, so what is that? We can say Hilbert transform of g cap of t is equal to minus g of t. Because of this minus, why? Because we are multiplying 2 times the impulse response. Next one is property 3. Okay, a signal x of t and its Hilbert transform x cap of t are orthogonal. That is, they are differed by 90 degrees over the entire time interval minus infinity plus infinity, minus infinity to plus infinity. So this is the time interval what they have given. So we have to show that they both are orthogonal. That is minus infinity to plus infinity, x of t into x cap of t into dt is equals to 0. What is the proof? We know that x of t Fourier transform is x of f. X cap of t Fourier transform, we get x cap of capital X of f. So this is, we know what is the normal thing and what is the Fourier transform of that one. Now when there is integrator, so when I consider the multiplication of those things in the time domain also, into the frequency domain also, that is minus integration minus infinity to plus infinity of x of t into x cap of t into dt will give me is also equal to minus infinity to plus infinity to x of f into x cap of f into df. But x of minus f into x of f is equals to mod of x of f the whole square. So that we are taking the mod of x of f the whole square. Then integration of minus infinity to plus infinity, that is x of t into x cap of t into dt, that is equals to minus infinity to plus infinity. And j signum of f into x of f the whole square into df. J signum of f into x of mod of x of f the whole square into df. Okay, so now I am substituted this term, what is the required, and from the above equation we get the difference of this, that is in a product of odd and even function. So odd and even function here. So what is that? Signum of f is nothing but the odd function, x of f the whole square is the even function. So integration of an odd function over the range, that is minus infinity to plus infinity, will always yield to 0. Okay, always yield to 0. That is what we need to be considered. From this term we can say that this term will be tends to 0. So as we are integrating in the time domain, in the frequency domain of a, as it is an odd function, so it will yield to 0. That is, therefore minus infinity to plus infinity into x of t into x cap of t into dt is equals to 0. Hence proved. Note, a signal g of t and its h of t Hilbert transform g cap of t have the same autocorrelation function. The same autocorrelation function. Second, if x of t and c of t are baseband and basepass function with non-overlapping spectrum, then Hilbert transform of x of t into c of t will give me x of t into c cap of t. Okay, so x of t should be a baseband, c of t is a baseband, and c of t should be a band pass signal. Okay, and there should be a non-overlapping spectrum, and they become non-overlapping spectrum, that is x of t into c of t. So that time we get x of t, we get it back, c of t will be Hilbert transform, because this is the signal which will be shifted by 90 degree, plus or minus 90 degree. And here Hilbert transform of the even function is odd and vice versa, that is odd function will be even. And Hilbert transform of a real signal is also a real. Next, we can obtain Hilbert transform of a signal which is Fourier transformable. So with some of the equation which are Fourier transformable, we can get a Hilbert transform of the signal. No. We can obtain Hilbert transform of energy signal as well as power signal. obtain Hilbert transform of energy signal as well as power signal. So that is another thing that we can do it in the Fourier transform. So this is one more thing. So this was all about the brief introduction of the Hilbert transform, inverse Hilbert transform, its pairs g of t and g cap of t, and its interpretation, whether it can be this whatever the conceptualization we have made is correct or wrong. Then we saw the three properties of the what we said the three properties of Hilbert transform. We proved it, and then we had a brief idea about this node. So this might be used in this node is used in the solving the problem. So please have a brief note of this one. Okay, and you need to solve some problems on this topic. This topic is very important. So in that way, we have some problems related to the Hilbert transform. So we need to be focused more on this. Okay, thank you. So further, we'll be having some other concepts related to the pre-envelopes and the canonical and other representation. Also, some of the the polar line code techniques. Okay, thank you.